Hello, everyone. This is Leimomi Keliikuli, Intuitive Soul Alignment Coach here, and I am here with beautiful Sabine Minsky, and we are going to share with you guys for my Mastering Your Soul's Gifts interview series, and we're basically sharing stories about how to get in alignment and be when you are in misalignment, um, and really giving you good feedback of what to do and when you are in those circumstances. So let's just start with, Sabine, introducing yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do. How did you become like more of a genius at what you do now?
Okay. Hi, Leimomi. It's really a pleasure to connect with you today and to be on the other side of the screen. So, I am a soul coach and an osteopath. So, if I had to choose a title for myself that encompasses both, it would be the energy of the healer. And that is because it is actually my first gift is divine love, which we share in common. And one of our characteristics is that capacity to hold space for people in love and help them to heal. We don't heal them, we help them on their path.
Exactly. So from like your perspective, of being that love, being that love gift, why is it so important to know such things in order to create, a life of success and things that we want in our business? Like, why has that driven you to do what you do now?
Well, I used to be a wannabe lawyer. Up until 2005, I was, pushing myself in the wrong direction. And I thought there was something to it because I had that calling of helping inside. I wanted to help people, and I thought, well, who's the most powerful around? And one thing that came to mind, because my second gift is power, so I was trying to combine both, helping and being powerful at it. So I pushed myself through 6 years of studies, and I was pretty miserable. Um, and that opened a gate because when you have that want inside, that call inside to find more about yourself and express yourself more fully, when you don't say steps, in the status quo or just unsatisfied, there's always going to be that little voice inside. And for me, that little voice pushed me into starting Kung Fu as I was in my last year of law school, in my fourth year of a 6 year journey. And through that, because it was a type um, of Buddhist Kung Fu, we would always end with meditation at the end, and that was a door opener, a heart opener, an energy opener for me. And in combination to that, I was also getting my ass kicked because this was sometimes full contact. So I started being treated by an osteopath for the first time in my life. And that helped me to discover all that our body holds in terms of power, in terms of our hurts, both physical and emotional and mental. And that was really my pathway into opening that space within um, for listening to that voice that wanted to help, but that wasn't satisfied in the direction that I had taken. And one of the most difficult steps really was to dare to change. I don't know if you would call it 180 degrees or 90 degrees, going from that space of being 3 months away from becoming a full-fledged lawyer to going back to square one and starting on my fourth bachelor in osteopathy. So that was really a big moment in my life where I started to understand what alignment is, alignment to the calling within. Despite everything that people could say around me, not even in a nasty way. It was just a misunderstanding and lack of understanding that I would want to follow my calling within, even if I had, something really socially acceptable dangling right there, which was being part of the lawyer community. That was one of the big moments for me.
Yeah. I mean, I cannot imagine like you were like totally going one completely different path and then realizing, oh no, that's not me. And you just like, it's like kind of like you just like threw away, right? Like threw away a part of yourself that you thought was you all this time, right? Because probably growing up as a child, you know, there were things that lit you up, right? And that you just loved doing, but then you kind of had to like push that away and then go towards being a lawyer. And then suddenly you're like, no, I want to be what I wanted to be when I was a child, right? What lit me up, which has everything to do with healing and a whole different way of approaching, you know, what it is that is truly what you desire, but also how you help people.
Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, when you're in alignment, both go together. Your inner calling of, in my case, in your case, of helping, comes out as the, you know, outer circumstances of being an osteopath, a soul coach. They just blend together, and that's where that sense of, you know, contentment and fulfillment can really be found. I see so many people who are on a path of self-discovery, are you know, deep in yoga training, or have a strong meditation practice, anything to help them grow inside, but who are still in such dissonance with one or more areas in their life. And they're, you know, trying so hard to find a balance within, but every day they're putting themselves off keel by going into a work environment that they don't like, by having a, you know, difficult relationship in their love life, or with their children or parents, and finding enough resources within to make it through. But it's still, that's not alignment. That's pushing forward on a, you know, on a steamboat that at one point is going to become tired, and what cries out that they finally listen to pretty often is actually their body, because that is our densest energy is our body, and it is the last one to accumulate. So we might have a dissonance and a misalignment at soul level. Sometimes we'll listen to it when we listen to the intuitive voice that's saying, I'm not sure about that. Sometimes we'll listen, you know, then there'll be a dissonance at the mental level, and we'll have that. It's a different voice, like the intuition voice will be more through here, or it will feel omnipotent, whereas the mental voice will be more in our head, having, you know, discontent in our thoughts in our daily life. But still, so many people will not listen to that, and then it will go into the emotional world, in which they'll either be emotionally disconnected, or they'll be you know, enslaved to their emotions, not being able to ride that roller coaster in a way that feels comfortable. And finally, it goes into our body, and that's where the pain starts. That's the type of pain that people listen to. And even then, I mean, because I treat people first through their body in osteopathy, I do get once in a while some people who just do not even listen to pain. It's incredible how much resiliency we have, but we're not here to be resilient. We're here to be thriving, really.
Right. I think like we forget to listen to our bodies and like really get into the actual pain because it's scary, it's something new. And then you end up at the very end, like your body's not doing what you want it to do, right? And then they come to you and be like, fix me. And, you know, and then they realize, oh my God, like this is so much more deeper, something about me connecting to my soul and doing what I actually desire, what I love to do. And then like, it's like unfolding the different layers right? Like how we think our body is, but we also have to look at the layers of the emotional and the spiritual and being your purpose. And it is so important to listen to your body, right? Like listen to what it's saying, what's the next step, because your body will tell you, and it's the densest part of yourself that will you either resist it, right? Or you either like allow it to kind of like be your vehicle, right? Like our soul needs to be in the driver's seat, but we sometimes let our body do its own thing, you know, throwing a party in the back seat. And what do you call that? Like the backseat driver who tells you like, go do this and do that. And then you get stuck with what's going on with your body instead of, well, what I actually want to do, which is drive in the right direction that my soul wants to create. So go ahead.
Oh, and just about pain in the body, people have often like two extremes. One will be pain as their total enemy that they don't want to look at, and they let it, in the back corner until it's just too much. And then on the other opposite, there'll be pain as our like worst best friend, in which we have this kind of identification to it as if it defined us. And both are just as toxic, really. And I don't know that one is harder for people to look at, because there's always like, I'm sorry if there's echo, but there's always a dissociation that needs to be done when it comes to pain as our best friend. It's like, no, this is not you. You can live without that pain. You can thrive if you only give yourself that chance. And for people who hide their pain, they don't want to look at it. Often that will also be linked with people who disconnect from the emotions. So there's just a lack of connection with it. And rebuilding that connection can be tricky too. But it's the same thing. We all have that power within to build the body that we want, to build the emotional state that we want, the mental well-being that we want. It's really always within our hands. That's really where I start from.
So what would you say is like the 3 like must-do steps to really get back into alignment? Like when you feel your body's not working the way you want to, like things are not in balance. What are the kind of steps that you kind of recommend our audience that will get them back into alignment?
Well, I'd say the very first thing is to be willing to face it, to recognize it. Not necessarily to go at it headstrong, which would be like my type because of the power energy in there, but that would be the first thing, to be like, okay, there's actually like there's something for me to look at here. And then the second step in that would be to create space. Allow yourself to create that space for yourself away from, and doesn't have to be long. It can be by short periods if that's all you have because you have children running around the house, or you work as a lawyer and you have very little time. So to create space to connect. And of course, the third step is to connect. And the ways in which you connect can be so varied. There's no right, no wrong in life. And the best thing is to explore for yourself. I mean, the resources at disposal now are just, unfathomably varied. Like when I started connecting to energy, I remember one of my simplest favorite things was, especially because I had trouble connecting with Mother Earth and that energy. I'm more ethereal in my preferences. So just lying down on a piece of grass, if the weather permits, or on a wooden floor, and just feeling that connection through every single inch of skin or body that is in connection with the floor. And then the door opens to connect to the rhythms of the earth, her own breathing is just, it's so nurturing and filling. That's, 101 for me. If you're looking for something purely basic.
Yes, that's perfect. Like we definitely need to remember to feel, to acknowledge the pain, and to be like, it's okay. Like this is just what I'm experiencing, and then coming really back to that connection, the connection to your soul. And I think that's kind of what happens, like when you feel like giving up, like what keeps you going, like for me, it's like that deeper connection. Like if I've usually it has to do with that. Um,
And another thing that helps me in those moments of um, feeling downtrodden or just exhausted is to remember that everything changes. I think that's one of the concepts that I really started, being hammered in a bad way, but really became imprinted in me when I did Vipassana, which is a 10-day silent meditation, with that concept of impermanence and that everything will change at some point or another. And that just gives me a perspective that I need when I'm really in need of a break. Another thing that I really love to do is to when I'm lying down in bed, I imagine my soul as being sitting down just next to me with her knees folded, and I rest my head on her knees. And that is like a cradling of comfort, which is very nourishing in those moments.
I love that. That's something that we tend to forget, to disconnect in that way and find that unique way that you connect to your soul.
Yeah.
So how do you define success, and what kind of pain did you have to endure to get to where you're now? Like, I'm pretty sure redefining all of that, um, what like made you turn like into the right direction?
Mm-hmm. Oh, so my definition of success is really to simply feel a complete sense of fulfillment within, and it's really in the perspective of here and now. I am fulfilled with who I am and what I'm doing and how I'm showing up in my life, and remembering that that will change because we're always in a spiral of growth. But that would be my definition of success. And in terms of growth pains, I think even within healing for me, the biggest moments, most the difficulties I faced were with accepting to show myself up as a healer, um, ingrained in not only how society still views healers in many ways, like there's a sense of, awesomeness that we may inspire sometimes, but also a fear that can be instilled because it's not something tangible, it's not something that you can measure. And right now in Quebec, in terms of osteopathy, we're going through a period in which we're trying to bring osteopathy into the realm of a scientific mind, and I disconnect from that because there is so much in terms of what we do on an energy level, and that's risk being lost. So being willing to show myself as a full healer, even within the realm of osteopathy, has been a challenge. And it can be like also memories that have come up over the past 2 years, because I started solar alignment especially. There's this capacity that opens up to connect to our own past lives. And one of the ones that, as healers, we're often faced with remembering our time as witches and in terms of being persecuted and burnt at the stake, which is one side, and the other side is also the times when we weren't that great, in terms of our choices on how we use our powers. So one thing that was really hard for me was accepting to manipulate the cervical area. I always felt like I was, going back to a place where I crack necks, but not in a good way. It took me 4 years to be able to do that comfortably. And now I don't really need to do that anymore because I work more in the energy level to unleash blockages. But that was a rite of passage for me. I thought I went to an osteopath because of that.
Well, I guess you needed to go that very left brain route to experience what that is, and then come into the right brain route, and then see how you're going to integrate the two parts that you've learned about yourself, right? That you've learned how to get in your power, and then to really own your gift as a healer, and because that love and that connection it's what you're all about, right? That deeper connection. So lastly, let's talk about like what advice you might give to someone that who really wants to get into their genius and get into like doing their purpose, doing what they know that they are at soul level. Like what like helped you to decide to do your work that you do now, like from a place of love, right? How can they create this like soul aligned life and business that just makes them really, really feel that they're in their expertise, what would you suggest to them if they're just kind of like starting to get to know what their genius is?
Well, the first thing would be to have patience with yourself in that discovery. It's not only a discovery of who you are or who you can be, for example, as a healer, but it's first and foremost a discovery of who you are, or as we say in French, so just as the bottom line. Whatever we do in service to others, we're doing in service to ourselves too. The pathway to becoming a healer is to be willing to look at our own darkness, our own hurts. It all comes up at some point or another in different degrees. And something that was coming up for me was I was remembering the first period in which I really started feeling that I had energy in my hands and that I could do things with that, and how absolutely traumatizing that was. And at the same time, energy information was coming into me from left and right, and I did not know what to do with that. And that's something that people who are highly sensitive can be faced with. And I think it's really important for them to know that when the doors open, they can always choose to what degree the door is open. So it can feel like a tsunami sometimes. If that happens, take a step back. Always take a step back and recalibrate how much you're opening yourself up to, and you can build it into incremental steps. So for that, and I'm sure we hold the same message in terms of how much power we have in our own choices and in our own boundaries, and that's really a discovery to be able to establish our boundaries, whether we decide to have a calling to become a healer or whatever that extends.
Yes, I think we do need to kind of experience that first, right? To really step into it and be like, yeah, it's really about being patient, because everything starts to unfold slowly, and that's how your soul is, right? Like your ego wants it really fast, but your soul is like, wait, let's just like go through the process. Let's wait until we figure this out first, that you to experience it, get more confidence. It's like anything else. Like when you start learning an instrument, like you got to know all the chords, and you got to know all the different things necessary for you to be really good at playing that instrument, right? It's the same thing with being a genius at anything that you want to do. You have to like let it unfold and try different things too, right? Test it out.
And It's a little bit like the development, the neurological development of the baby. They'll go into a period of complete discovery and curiosity and complete openness. And then they need a moment to regroup in which they'll be less interactive and they'll be less curious. And that's their neurological paths that are being created, and they just need to absorb what they've been exposed to. And we're the same when we start off on our journey into new realms, whatever they are, and then we can go back again into more openness. And it's, as they say, it's one step forward, two steps back, right? And there's another big step forward.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like we don't grow, we grow forward and we go back. Like it's not just like forward trajectory, right? Otherwise we would run out of gas, right? Like or keep going and running in the direction and anything like that. So,
or our brain would still be like kilometers backwards, and you would be not knowing what's going on.
Right, and that too. All right, any last thing that you want to share with us? Because I know that you have a special gift for my audience. Any last things that you want to share?
Sure. So I'm inviting you to From Heart to Soul, which is my website. You have the link that's shown right there. And on that site, you can download a free meditational expansion, which is a really nice, soft tool, as you can tell from my voice, it's kind of lulling, to help you to connect deeper. Always going for earth energy and etheric energy so that we stay in balance and the two energies complement themselves and meet at the level of our fit, which is really one of the most useful tools, most forgotten, and most to be discovered.
Sounds awesome. So yes, if you guys can see on the screen, it's www.fromheartttosoul.com/meditation, the number 2. So jump on there and get your free gift and your meditation from Sabine. And if you ever want to contact with her, right, of course you can reach out to her and see if there's anything else that maybe that she can help you with. All right, well, thank you so much for coming and sharing your story, and especially sharing about your misalignment and coming back to your alignment, and then owning and starting to get into your genius even further. And I'm sure, like just hearing your story, whoever's listening in now, if you guys have any questions for her, you can always post at the bottom. And share your feedback and what you experienced by listening to her story. And I hope that, through listening to this Mastering Your Soul's Gift interview, it's going to give you some insights of all the things that you maybe want to change, but you haven't really done it yet because of so many reasons. And you want to get back into your genius and really, really stand in your power in what your gifts is meant to serve and be on purpose. And so I share this every 2 weeks. So if you ever want to know more about Sabine or anybody else that I interview, please feel free to reach out at any time. And of course, you know me, I'm Leimomi Keliikuli. You can also go to my website and my Facebook group, Soul Alignment for Conscious Leaders, and totally come join us together and let's create a very conscious movement of creating soul alignment. All right, well, you guys all have a beautiful day. Aloha.
Bye-bye.